And again, we're designed differently. Where I'm going to come up short, that's what you're there for, and where you come up short, that's where I.
I was like, I have a kid, leave me alone.
Yep.
He did Princess Bride. That was the other thing I really wanted at the wedding was Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Marriage is what brings us together. This dream within a dream. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Real Stories. Today we're doing something just a little bit different. We're actually going to be topical, and I've got my wife here again with us, Cori Silvester. Say hi.
Hi.
Today is going to be fun. We're going to be chatting about our marriage, so this will be an interesting topic.
That's for sure.
For anybody out there who is yet to get married, it's a great opportunity to learn about marriage. But also, if you are married, hopefully our story can help other people see that we're all a little crazy.
Just a bit.
So, you want to take it away?
Well, I guess we can first talk about how we kind of met. It's a real big whirlwind. We met back in what, 2007? Okay, yeah. See, he's good with the numbers. I'm not good with numbers. That's why he's a real estate agent and I'm not. But back in 2007, we met. The first time we met, you don't even remember me because we met on a golf course at a Royal LePage golf tournament, charity golf tournament.
Yep.
And I was helping out and I came across you and I was like, who is this guy? And I come to find out that you're another agent's son. And it was like, okay, this guy's crazy.
It's true.
After that was like in June, right? And then
Correct.
You don't remember meeting me until
October. You were covering for the night shift at the office, and I was studying for my second course for real estate.
Yeah. And so I had come into the Windsor office from out in the Essex office and spent some time in the Windsor office. Love that job, my goodness. Love that office was awesome too. A lot of fun in that office. But I met you again for like the first time we actually had a conversation.
Right.
Do you remember that night?
When I met you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I ended up leaving and going home, but I knew when you finished work, and so I pretended like I had to come back for something. But you were walking out when I was walking in, so I was like running to the office to grab something so that I could not seem so creepy and be like, hey, good to see you. What are you doing after work? And then you proceeded to tell me like, no, and blah, blah, blah. And we talked for like 30 minutes outside by the car, which was fine because I was like, want to grab a drink? You're like, no. I'm like, coffee? You're like, no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I was like, I have a kid. Leave me alone.
Yep. And then I was like, that's fine. Didn't bother me. And then what I would do after that was I would drive out to Essex randomly because, of course, that's where you were. So I would just have to, end up in Essex for some random reason, stop by the office and say hi. So that was the early stages of whatever you want to call it. And I, chased you down.
Our first, like, quote unquote date was, didn't you come over and help tear down my parents' garage?
Yes. Yeah. You guys needed help tearing something down. I said, no problem. I come over and do some demo. So I was swinging a sledgehammer and knocking down the old garage that was surrounding the Opal.
Yeah. That was back when I used power tools. I don't use power tools anymore.
No.
No,
that was back when I could swing a sledgehammer and knock things down. I'm not so sure if I swung a sledgehammer today that it might hurt myself a little more than I'd expect.
That's for sure.
It's been a few years.
Yes, it has.
So.
And then what happened? Oh, right. I invited you to my baptism.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And that was the first time.
That was a morning where I had to get up and at that time in my life, I was still out partying quite a bit. So I got home at whatever unearthly hour it was and then got up in the morning, put a suit on and went to church. And my mom didn't know what was going on and came to the baptism. Had to wear some sunglasses.
Did she think I was a guy, actually?
She might have, yeah.
I think you came upstairs and said, I'm going to Cori's baptism.
Correct.
And she totally thought I was a guy and couldn't figure out why in the world you were getting up so early on a Sunday morning.
Correct. So that was the beginnings. And then God got back a hold of me and through that brought me back around to my base. And then again, we started having conversations. Your sister invited me over for some games.
My sister Mary, she was, they were coming to pick me up or something like that from work. And we were going back to my parents' house. And she was just like, why don't you come and play family game night with us? Because we always did family game night. And so she invited you. And I remember looking at her being like, seriously, I don't want this guy around. Like, really? Don't entertain this, please. And, but you said yes, of course. And then she was like, oh, yeah, come on. It's going to be a great time.
Yep.
So then you just kind of like inserted yourself into my family via my sister.
Yep. And I hung out and got to know everybody. And
yeah, we went bowling a lot too.
We went bowling.
I was not very good at it. I have some very unique skills.
Yeah. Bowling is not one of our skills. But again, you brought your sisters along. So that was the thing. It was always a family event.
I dragged my sisters on any date you wanted to take me on.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. A lot of laughs trying to shoo you away.
Yeah, it worked, shooing me away. I'm long gone. Been around for 18 years now.
Yeah, but I remember the moment that God kind of placed you on my heart and things immediately changed. And it wasn't a very long period of time. Like, we're talking from October when I was baptized and you came and demolished the garage to I believe it was like the second week in November.
Right.
I had gone to one of our Kitchener churches, and I was there doing a topic on or talk on depression and kind of how the Lord pulls you out of that, and what are some practical ways to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Right.
And kind of propel yourself forward with Christ pushing you and launching you forward. But specifically, I remember that weekend being there in that church, and I thought that the Lord was telling me to marry somebody else, and I thought he was preparing my heart for someone else. And I remember seeing that person, and then I just remember hearing the Lord go, no, I have something else planned for you. And I went, seriously, Lord? Really? Okay, what is it, Lord? And immediately you popped into my head, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, please, Lord, no. Oh, Lord, are you sure? Are you sure, Jesus? And he was like, just trust me. So I said, okay. And I had, over the course of the 2 years previously, I had really learned to trust Jesus and his leading and his prompting and what pathways he's telling me to go down. So I was like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to hold on. Here we go. So I went down that pathway, and what was it? Literally 3 weeks later, Something like that, yeah. We were at the real estate gala.
Right.
Actually, just before that Sunday before was the Sunday we went out to Colasani's with my family.
Right.
Because my family does pictures every single year. Well, at least they used to do pictures every single year at Colasani's with all of the poinsettias. And I introduced you to my grandfather and my grandmother, and we were sitting in the back of my parents' van driving back to Windsor.
Right.
And that's where you proposed to me.
Correct. Yes, in the back seat of a minivan driving down the road.
Yes, in the back seat of my parents'
minivan.
You were drawing in the fog on the window,
Correct.
And you wrote, I like you, and I wrote, I like you, too. And then you changed the I to an O.
Yep.
And I went, you loke me?
And I'm like, nope. And then I fixed it.
To I love you. And I said, I love you, too. And then you said, marry me.
Right.
And then I grabbed your phone and picked a date.
Yep.
And I picked, I looked at that Saturday of May, I think it was May 31st, but I really wanted May 30th. But May 30th was a Friday night.
Yep.
But
which is when we actually got married.
We actually got married on a Friday night. But yeah, that's how you proposed. No ring, no nothing. But I wasn't big on jewelry.
I was broke back then.
I know. I'm still not, and I'm not big on jewelry. Like, I don't have a lot of jewelry. You were the one who, I didn't even have my ears pierced before we got married.
Nope.
So yeah, it was really, really fast. It was really, really interesting as a whirlwind. And I honestly didn't even know how we were going to plan a wedding in 5 months?
5 months. And then getting your father's permission was another fun thing.
Oh, yeah.
The drive to go see him, and then your grandfather passing.
Yeah, my grandfather did pass away that period of time.
In that period of time.
Yeah, you met him, and then
I was out at the house
one more time.
Correct. I drove out to the house in the middle of a snowstorm. out in Kingsville. And then the next morning, that's when you were leaving from there because you were staying out there that night because you were working in Essex.
Yeah, he had a heart attack or something.
Correct. He didn't take his medication or something that morning, and then he ended up in the hospital. And then I ended up at your house taking care of your family while your parents were out there because I was on my way to meet your father to have a conversation. And that's when he called me and told me what was going on. And then I just redirected to you guys. Yeah. So that was a very interesting situation.
It was. You really stepped in, though, and kind of became my rock. And that was, I think, where the Lord kind of, bonded us together in that time.
Yep.
And then the next 6 months of planning a wedding.
Right. And before we told the rest of my family, because we did tell my parents that we were engaged at the gala that night, but we're still waiting. I still hadn't fully talked to your father yet. I think I finally got his permission. It was sometime one of the nights because one of your friends was down.
Oh yeah, Amy Savin.
Amy was by, and so we were at the house, and I was chasing your dad around trying to get him to I need an answer, right? Because we're gonna see my family. You were coming with Tanner to the cottage for Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Because I think it was either Christmas Eve or the day before, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
And so then he did finally say, "All right, fine, give marry my daughter." Basically, I don't remember the way that it was actually.
Well, my dad and I had a lot of conversations before that.
Yeah.
So, and I had conversations with my grandfather too about you. Just kind of what the Lord was placing on my heart. And I sought out counsel. Didn't have as many conversations with my mother. My mother was not thrilled with you.
No. Why are you driving across the city? Well, yeah, that's where you are. Didn't you listen to the police told you not to go out? And I don't recall any time in my life ever really listening to what the police have to tell me.
No. No.
Yeah, that was an interesting day driving across the city. But I went to Tim Hortons, brought over donuts, and
you
came
did.
by.
Yes, you did.
But it was one of the, roads were disastrous. But again, if you can't tell, I'm a fairly persistent human being.
Very.
Very. If I want something and I want to spend time doing something, I generally will prioritize and find when my will, I always kind of find a way. So.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And then, planning our wedding was a complete whirlwind. Everything kind of just fell right into line.
Yep.
And it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding on a Friday night. As you like to say, we tried to pack an 8-hour wedding, a Saturday wedding,
and a full Saturday wedding into a 4-hour window.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't think I would have changed it. I think there's a couple things I would have maybe done differently about pictures and things, but and we had a Friday night pizza party.
Correct.
Literally, we went to Kaboto, right? And I ordered pizzas from their wood oven fire stove thingies.
Yep.
They like the best pizzas. And we did. I had pizza at my wedding because I wanted pizza at my reception.
Yep.
That was what I wanted for my reception dinner.
It was fun. We did it. We did a marriage on a budget, got married. Mm-hmm. We bought a house in that time frame as well.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Got an opportunity at a really crazy deal. Used a friend of ours, Mike, to help finance that deal early on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
beginnings
at Logan.
A lot of people kind of step in. God just kind of put people in our path to kind of just keep launching us forward and kept just reaffirming those steps that we were stepping out in faith in.
Yep.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. And so then we're married. So we get married on May 30th. We had
which was my grandmother's birthday, actually, which is kind of why I wanted to get married that day. Yeah, Lena.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my way of remembering her.
Okay, I don't think I knew that, actually. So there you go. Learn something new. Of all the conversations, I don't know that I knew when her birthday was.
17 years
I knew when Ann's was because it's November 22nd.
Yeah.
That I do know, but.
Yeah, 11, 22, 33.
Yeah. But when I think back to that, again, we had Bob Barwick do the ceremony, did the Princess Bride.
He did Princess Bride. And that was the other thing I really wanted at the wedding was Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Marriage is what brings us together. This dream within a dream.
And he did it so well, too. So confident and boisterous. It was wonderful.
Yeah. So then we start our marriage together, and first few years of marriage with a toddler, and then Mercedes coming within within a year of that too, and life kind of taking off. Me getting my real estate license in March. We got married in May, bought a house in the end of February. There's all kinds of things on the go there. There's a lot of big transitions that happen for everybody.
Yeah, there was. It was really a whirlwind. And we were just trying to learn how to deal with each other and figure out what two people coming together to the Lord looks like.
Right. And we've been doing that for 17 years and 17 and a half years now.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Just a minute.
We just keep on learning, and no matter what we seem to learn, we still end up in our moments of less than excitement.
We're still children learning, right?
That's it. Well, and I think that's the mistake. If you think you're going to ever get it all together or you're going to find a way to communicate in a way, everybody thinks differently. We look at the world differently. We understand things differently. And I think if you're trying to make somebody operate the way you want them to is always going to be a dangerous thing. You have to learn how to, if you want them to change, it's a leading, not a telling. And so that's one of the big things I had to learn early on in the marriage. It was easier to just try and tell everyone, and I do this in a general sense, trying to tell everyone how to live or how to do things because, of course, I was right. But then there's learning that if I want people to follow, then I have to be a leader and I have to lead them towards the things I want. And if they choose to follow, great. If not, then I have to be willing to accept that.
Yeah. And I've learned to just rest in the choices that you make. Mm-hmm. And my strength doesn't come from you. My strength comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
And so I continually, when there's something that pops up that I disagree with or that I'm like really struggling with to understand, I ask for the Lord's leading. And then if I'm not hearing the same thing you're hearing, then I either ask the Lord to speak a little louder or give me some type of confirmation, or what he sometimes does is end up changing your opinion on the matter. And I just let you go through it. And then you come around to this other side and you're like, oh, okay, now we're going to do this instead. So I try not to fight a lot in our marriage or try to like worry about big battles or anything, because I'm not here to fight those.
Right.
God's fighting those for me. And I just rely on him. And sometimes I take you and I tie you up and toss you to the foot of the cross and leave you there and say, Lord, help me, because this ain't working. But we've made that decision early on in our marriage that, divorce is not an option.
Nope.
This is not an option. So there is only plan A, and you better make plan A work. There is no plan B.
Yeah. And death is the only way out.
Yeah. And I cook the food.
Yes. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Be careful. There's a funny meme I've watched on TikTok where the husband apologizes to his wife and she just like brought him a drink or something, and then he apologizes and then she goes to take the drink. She's like, no, wait, he takes it away from him. Yeah, I'm sure I've given her plenty of reasons to run the other way from me over the years, but in the grace and mercy of God, he's taught me a lot and continued to grow me in ways. And we have a better marriage today than we did when we started. Yeah. We'll have a better marriage tomorrow. I think fighting for marriage at the end of it all is one of the greatest gifts that we get given, is that we get to partner with somebody in this life. And yeah, we're not always going to agree. You're not always going to want the things they want and have the same interests and hobbies. But when you choose to love and work through those things and find common ground, that's how you kind of win the game of marriage. And when I think about all the years of trying to get you to do the things I want to do, and yeah, I still would love if you'd start golfing, but at the same time, I'm okay if you just come and ride in the cart and hang out if you want.
It's fine. I like to ride in the cart.
Yeah. And I don't mind crafting, but there's a limit to
You do not like crafting. Don't even pretend.
I don't mind doing some of those things.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No.
I'll do some of them. I color. I build puzzles.
You build puzzles. That's not crafting, but building puzzles, yes.
Like crafting. You're building something. You're putting something together. I like things with a purpose. I like to see the end before I begin.
Yeah. It's sometimes a problem. Show me the whole picture. I need to know exactly how this plays out. No. Right. You only get one small puzzle piece. Figure it out from there.
Yeah. I'm learning to live in the puzzle pieces. I do not like it. I prefer the big picture and understanding versus walking by faith. But learning to walk by faith is a strength and one that I'm very grateful for. And again, God's brought us through a lot in our marriage with the kids. And for a long time in our marriage, it was sports, hockey. We had church on Wednesdays and all the things that were going on until really COVID hit. I didn't really ever slow down.
Right.
We were always running 1,000 miles. I mean, I'm still not even sure how I managed to do all of the things we did. Like, we
I know
had
at
so
one
much
point in
going
time
on.
you were coaching like 4 different hockey teams, 3 of which our kids were on, and 1 which none of our kids were on.
Correct. Yeah. I did do that one year because I was just helpful. My son, that was when we first started travel. So we had the travel teams, the house league teams.
Yeah.
Mercedes
And
started.
then you took on an
and then I
extra
took on
house
an
league
extra team.
team.
Yeah. There was a lot going on that year. And then, yeah, I've always done a lot though. And then after that, I think we were actually, that was our last year at Windsor before we moved to LaSalle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, as a
and
transition.
then we transitioned to LaSalle in 2015. And then again, still with hockey and busyness of life. And then I decided to rebuild a house. So just added other things and then homeschool added to that. Just kept on rolling there.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. You actually chose to homeschool. I had wanted to homeschool the kids way back, like at the very beginning. And you didn't feel led that way. And so I just kind of submitted and was like, okay, this is not a hill I'm ready to fight for and die on. Okay. So we left the kids in school. And then when we moved to LaSalle, we realized that there were things about their education that we could kind of change. And you actually made the decision.
Correct. Yeah. Mercedes has dyslexia just like I do. And so when I was sitting with some of the information there, my brain was trying to process, okay, so what's best? And the school basically said, we can really help in about grade 5. And I'm like, well, that seems like a large waste of time because she was struggling pretty heavily.
And she was in grade 2 or
grade 2. We were in January of grade 2. And so I was at the time at the home a lot renovating the house. So we looked at the options, reached out to some of our friends who were homeschooling at the time, chatted with the lady who was in Goderich. She ran the learning school or something. I forget exactly what it was called, but reached out to her, chatted with her about the different programs that would help Mercedes, and then gave Tanner the option. So we didn't make the kids leave school. Mercedes, we more or less said, hey, here's what we can do to help you at home. And then Tanner was like, hey, if you want, you can stay in school or you can come out and you can be homeschooled as well. Totally up to you. And he chose to be homeschooled.
Yeah, he was very excited about coming out of school and getting to control his education, basically the time that he was spending doing schoolwork and things like that. He just liked that ability to control things.
Yeah, and then he chose to go back to high school just like Mercedes did. But Mercedes had a few more issues around dealing with lots of chaos around her, so we put her back in grade 8.
I put her in grade 8 so that we can get her, because she struggles with anxiety, so we put her in grade 8 so that she can kind of settle in, make some friends in a smaller classroom, and then also to set up her IEP for high school.
Right. Yep. And so that was good. And the Mercedes is now in grade 11. Tanner finished high school. Both of them, school is always a bit contentious for both. They enjoy parts of it and other parts, of course, they don't. Like I'm of that same mindset. I like to learn what I want to learn. I'm not a huge fan of learning what I'm told to learn. And so for me, when I really want something, then I can learn it. But when I don't, it's very much more difficult. There's a bit of a strong-willed nature within myself that I see within my children. There's good things about it, but they also come at their cost. But both kids are getting through school. Cool to see them taking on new opportunities in life. So again, as parents, getting married young, having kids young, there's a lot of things I used to look back and wonder, well, what if we had waited or done things differently, or all the stresses of life, how it could have played out, because I look at it from the perspective of financially, right? And then I was able to still build a pretty good wealth position that was still, in the end, money doesn't seem to matter much. Relationships seem to be much more important. And one of the cool things that when I finally did earn all the money and we lived an amazing life and we were able to upgrade our home, we were able to provide for our family members, we were able to do a lot of things over a number of years to support our family and our siblings along that road as well. And then to see, though, in the end, it was all the relationships that were built that were important, not the money itself. And I think that was an interesting thing to see and to adjust for. And in your marriage, at least as a male, being the provider is kind of one of those things that, for me at least, was very important. And as I talk to some younger people, it's something they still feel is very important. But what I've learned is that provision is important. Being responsible, being a person of work ethic is an important thing. But the idea that you need to get all your ducks in a row before you can take leaps of faith in marriage and kids and that, I would tell you, Do it early, do it when you're young, because you get this great opportunity to grow old. And I don't think you'll ever learn what you need to learn until you do. Meaning, again, I didn't learn a lot of my lessons till I had kids. Kids taught me more about life than pretty much any other lesson. Even marriage didn't teach me as much as my children have. And so again, I think if you're expecting that one day you'll know enough, have enough, and be enough, you won't. And so you're just going to have to figure it out like the rest of us. And so whether you do that at 20 years old or you do it at 40 years old, it doesn't really matter. You're still going to have to learn the same lesson.
So one of the things I kind of wanted to chat with you about, because this comes up a lot in a Christian marriage, is submission.
Yep.
Submission and what the wife's role is and what the husband's role is.
Right.
And I wanted to ask you kind of your take on it.
Yeah, so a young man's take on it is, again, thinking you are in control. And that's the mistake. It's not about control. It's not about authority. Because if you try to tell people what to do, generally their response, if you tell me what to do. So the reality is if you try to think of it from the perspective, imagine saying it to yourself. Mm-hmm. And then how would you respond to that? And so again, the objective is not, the way that I view it now, or even viewed it then to some extent, was I am responsible. Meaning when I look at marriage, when I look at life, I am the head of my home. I'm responsible for everything that goes on. So meaning no matter the decisions that are made by you or my children or me, I'm responsible for it all. And so with that comes the accountability to the choice. Now, does that mean that I rule and everyone else listens? No. The objective is that you care for each other, you love each other, and we make decisions as a family. If you heard earlier about when I look at submission, it was my son had a choice whether or not to be homeschooled or not. He had a choice whether to go to high school or not. I don't think in my life I've really made it, outside of a few things that I think are reasonable, I have very few, I would call them rules. I think that I want to give a lot of freedom to make decisions. I try to advise and give advice when wanted, and sometimes when not. But when I think about submission and the attitude of a wife, she's your helper. She's the person who holds you up, walks with you, goes through those tough times. And if you're looking at it from the perspective, well, I'm very possessive too, so she is mine and I am hers. That's actually the truth of it. We're co-equals. And the only reason why I'm the one making the decision is because I'm the one who will take the brunt of the responsibility and I can protect her from it. That's really the purpose I see, is that I am to stand in the gap when stuff is coming down and protect my spouse. And no matter whether it was her choice that's causing it or whether it was mine, I'm responsible either way, and to give her a covering so that she's able to, again, be okay. And that's at least the way I see it.
Well, and as a wife, I look at it and think, what submission really is realizing that my husband is the one who's standing before the Lord. He's the one who God's going to look at and say, hey, why did you let this happen in your family? Mm. You're going to have to stand there and answer for that. I don't get called into that. Right. But I am responsible for my own decisions. I'm responsible for the way I treat you, the way I act, the way I treat my kids and how I raise my kids and things like that. And the topic always of women are the weaker vessel. That sometimes comes up, and it so irks me because weaker isn't the term. The wife is like the crystal vase. So she's strong and sturdy. She can hold a lot of stuff, and she looks absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. But also what you put in there, you can see clearly right through. So if you're putting garbage in that vase, then you're going to see it. Everybody's going to see it. Right. And if you drop that vase and you throw it around like it's meaningless, it's going to get broke. Mm-hmm. It's going to need repair. And that's something that you can't repair. That's something that only the Holy Spirit can repair. Right. So treating it with and holding it in its proper place is so very important. And I think sometimes people miss that. And sometimes people use those verses in the Bible to dismiss things and how they treat people, right, when honestly, it comes down to love. Yep. And if you have love in those situations, you have respect in those situations, then it brings your entire marriage to a different place. Yes. We've always said there's three people in our marriage. There's the two of us, and then there's God. And the closer that you are going to God, the closer you actually move together. Yep. And so that's always been our focus. And I love that about our marriage, because we'll come and sometimes we'll be like miles apart from each other, and you feel like you're going like this. And it's like, nope, I just need to correct my action. No matter where you're going, if you're going over here, I have to correct my action. And eventually you then see and correct your actions too. Or vice versa, same way. If I'm veering off to the left or right and I'm getting caught up in my own self and my own emotions and letting those things rule me, um, seeing that, having that prayerful heart that comes to the Lord and asks, and you can fight for me, you can war for me in those heavenly places.
Yep.
And you can break off things that I don't even recognize are going on right now. And it's a beautiful thing, especially when you start to come before the Lord and ask him, truly, what are these things that you want me to pray for in my husband and my spouse? What's going on that they aren't sharing with me?
Right.
Because there's always things that we're not sharing with each other.
Right.
We try and we hunker down, and it's like, what's going on? Oh, nothing's going on. I'm fine. I'm just in my head, right? But there's a that's the battlefield of the mind.
Yep.
Right? That's where Satan attacked Jesus when he was like, are you hungry? Just make some bread. Do you want to be the leader of the world? Just bow down to me and I'll give you all of this. It's the battlefield of the mind where those things play out.
Yeah.
And so having that covering of my husband who sees something going on and then goes before the Lord and asks for that covering and that warring is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the only way that a man is able to war is when he has the strength, and the strength that most men, if they're looking correctly, they'll get it from their spouse. The strength that comes is when your wife is, again, no matter where she's at, it still comes from this desire to walk with them, right? Like, we're one flesh. So one of the things scripturally, it says we become one flesh. So we are one person before the Lord. And in that, like, when we're sitting down and something is wrong and I'm like, I don't understand. And so sometimes, again, I don't know if I'm an empath or not in that context, but I just feel something. I'm like, okay, what is happening? And I don't understand. And again, I don't always go about communicating it well. But my honest intention is to try to figure out, where are we? Where are we going? Where's God taking us? What is going on with you right now, so that I can step in and pray for you and walk with you. And in our marriage over all of the years, you've been more of the prayer warrior of the family. You've stood in the gap in that way more than I would say I have. Focused on God, I think both of us, just differently. And again, we're designed differently. Where I'm going to come up short, that's what you're there for. And where you come up short, that's where I'm there for. It's not, when people think submission and ruling, it's, I'm to love my wife like Christ loves his church, and which is to lay my life down for her. Charlie Kirk said it well. There's a reason why a man wears the same thing to a funeral that he does to a wedding. It's because it's the death of the boy. At the wedding, the woman is everyone's there to see the woman, but the man is decided to put down the childish things, to submit his life in such a way where he's choosing to become responsible for his wife in a way. And so again, something I didn't understand to put words to, but when I heard him say it like that, it's like, okay, yeah, the childish things. So what are the childish things that I haven't? So what are the childish things that I still see? Because I think we're all through a process in marriage, whether it's your first year or you're in your 50th year, we're all in process and growth. And so it's, what are the childish things that still cause drama in our marriage? And what are the things that we can do to put them in right perspective and then clarify what's going on in our marriage, find a way to communicate, which for us is still a struggle. For all of what we know, for all of God in our marriage, sometimes my ability to say what I mean to say in a way that she understands is not always clear, and vice versa. And so one of the things, again, is learning to communicate with God. And that's why you were saying, go to God first. Listen to God, because at the end of the day, he understands her better than I ever will. And God understands me better than she ever will.
Yes.
And so learning to let God lead our marriage, and not me I might be the one vocalizing what that leadership looks like, but it's really led by the Spirit of God, not led by my authority. It's by his authority. He's my head. So at the end of the day, you can think that she's submitting to me, but really, if I'm submitting to Christ, therefore, we're all just under the leadership of God.
Yeah. And we all come from a past.
Yep.
We all had things that happened in our life. And, it's really beautiful, because that's what shaped and molded us. It's that being we build up ourselves, we think, when we're young, and we try to create something. We try to create our own identity. But when you come before God, he takes it and breaks it all apart and then rebuilds it into something way more beautiful than you ever could have expected.
Yes.
And so for our next episode, actually, we're going to learn about Jordan's story and his brokenness and growing into becoming a true man of God that I am very proud to be married to. Yeah. So join us next time.